Watch this video if you are currently drowning in empathy for others and absorbing other people's energy. Stick around and I'm going to teach you how to stop absorbing other people's energy and protect your own so that you can truly thrive as a light worker. Hello and welcome to or welcome back to the channel. My name is Emily Empath and here I talk about all things self-development, health, beauty, wellness, style, fitness, all of those fun things. So if you're interested in any of that, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. So over the last 5 years, I have posted probably hundreds of videos about being an empath, boundaries, spiritual growth, mindset development. And this year, 2025, it seems that the things that I have spoken about and have taught have truly clicked personally. So I want to talk about some of the changes that I've made to stop absorbing other people's energy, especially as a neurodivergent person who has an extreme amount of empathy as default, and how I have taken back my power. And hopefully it will help you if you are in a similar position. So the first thing that I want to say is that the idea of pulling back your empathy doesn't mean that you are no longer empathetic. It doesn't mean that you go from being an empath to some sort of variation of a narcissist when you pull back your empathy. When you are born with an extreme amount of empathy, especially if you are someone who is on the spectrum or some form of neurodivergence, the high sensitivity that you naturally have makes you more susceptible to harm because neurodivergents are playing in a neurotypical world where extreme empathy is not rewarded. So it's really important to keep in mind that when you pull back your energy from all the places that people and places that you've leaked it to, that you will still be an empathetic person. You just aren't on the extreme side of it. It's just neutralizing the part that is actually harmful to you, that doesn't align with your operating system. And in order to pull back your energy from leaking it to everybody, you have to really be very radically honest with yourself about where you're leaking your energy to begin with. Where are you oversharing information that could be edited and refined by just omitting certain details? Where are you paying attention to people, places, and things that aren't really serving you? Where are you showing up more than what is actually needed? So there is a proverb, and I'm going to put it right here, about having the intention to water your plant, but overwatering it can cause it harm and cause it to die. And we have to think about how we show up in other people's lives the same way. I am such a massive fan of Wicked, both the show and the movie. And in the second act, there is the song No Good Deed. And those of you who are already familiar with it will understand where I'm kind of going with this. No good deed is this concept of all of our good intentions not being fully reciprocated and seen and appreciated and respected. We have to remember that people can only meet us on the level that they can meet themselves. So if I am trying to be liked and please someone who is only here in terms of what they have to give, they're not going to fully be able to receive or even appreciate all of this that I am able to give to them, because there is a limitation in what they're able to give. Now, that's not to say that people can't be grateful when they are receiving more than what they can give, but it does limit their perception of just how much work has gone into you showing up for them. When you're taking back your power as an empath, you have to be very honest with yourself about whether you are doing things for others to be liked and to please them, or if it really is truly from the goodness of your heart. And that's where it can be both. Elphaba Throp in Wicked, when she sings No Good Deed, there is a line where she goes, "Was I really seeking good, or was I seeking attention?" And she's doing the shadow work of asking herself where the intentions actually generate from. Where is it rooted from? Is it rooted from not getting attention that she needed in her childhood because her father was absent? Or is it because she genuinely wanted to do good? Or is it both? The extreme side of empathy, of absorbing other people's emotions, is when some of that is you wanting to relate and you wanting to like and you wanting to please. When you pull some of that back and know that you're not necessarily going to get the relatability that you're looking for, and you're not necessarily going to be liked, and you're not necessarily going to please, but you can still express empathy, and you can still express compassion, and you can still express support. That is when you can walk away from the interaction without taking it home with you. We also have to remember that it is not our responsibility to save, fix, or heal anyone. Oftentimes, this is a conditioned pattern that comes from childhood in some way, shape, or form. We cannot control how other people feel or how other people respond to us. And people pleasing is, in a way, an attempt to control and manipulate another person's reaction to you and response to you. It's not malicious per se. It's like what I said about watering the plant. We have a good intention, but if we overwater the plant, it will die. It is also not your job to be anybody's rock. Every adult has a responsibility to themselves to learn how to manage their own emotions and to regulate. As an empathetic person, you can offer a listening ear, you can validate the things that can be validated, you can remind them that emotions are temporary, and you can help redirect them to things that you know will be uplifting. But the truth is that when you sit in the shit with them and you absorb all those emotions, you're sitting there in trauma bonding. You're not getting anything done. You are simply commiserating. And that is where all of that negative energy that you were supposedly trying to support then gets projected onto you. So when we talk about protecting our energy, we have to avoid having certain conversations. We have to avoid getting really, really deep in the shit with someone. You can relate and share your story, but you cannot be in the bottom for too long identifying with the struggle. And it's where people identify with struggle that leaves them in this constant state of disempowerment. So in order to truly become empowered in your empathy and in your relations with others, you must get super clear about how you proceed from challenge, how you move on and overcome and be resilient in the face of struggle. Over the years, I have shared tons of different types of techniques to help with washing away absorbed energy, like getting in the shower and imagining scrubbing away the day, going to the bathroom after you had a challenging conversation with somebody and going and writing down the emotions that you feel on a piece of toilet paper and flushing it away. I've talked about some of those practical little things that kind of mentally shift your energy. But what's really helped me personally in the last year from not absorbing other people's emotions and really protecting my own energy is by not having certain conversations to begin with. Now, let me just give you a little bit of background of me at like my worst as an empath. I grew up constantly attracting people who had severe mental illness. And it was a pattern that was familiar to me because it was something that was familial to me. And we attract friendships and connections and partnerships that mirror what is familial. Not necessarily parental, it can be just familial. And that's just basic human psychology. And I was a rock in those familial connections and therefore became a rock in those outside connections that I built. There has been nothing more heartbreaking to me than the people that I've had to walk away from because I knew that I had done the absolute most that I could to try to show them love and support. And there was just this refusal with multiple people to better themselves and to take responsibility for themselves. And that grief has followed me for the rest of my life. I continue to love these people from far away. And unfortunately, sometimes boundaries just are not enough. Sometimes you will outgrow certain friendships and certain relationships and connections when people are no longer willing to be accountable and responsible for themselves. On the flip side, I honestly would not expect anybody to stay around me if I was constantly depressed about everything and did nothing to take accountability for my life, nothing in terms of basic wellness and basic health. I would not expect anybody to stay around. And I know that severe depression can lead people to not want to take any care of themselves at all. And that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be loved. And that's why I say you love from far away. I think, especially as an eldest daughter and being a woman, that we're kind of put into this role of caretaking from a really young age. And we're kind of expected to be sweet, and we're expected to show up for people, and we're expected to have answers and solutions and resources. And although we do, it is an art of discernment to learn when not to. When you could actually be interrupting someone's karmic path and karmic destiny and their own growth by trying to get ahead of things. Now, I'm going to give a really harsh example. I was in a restaurant in the summer where this old lady had tripped over someone's dog leash. The dog was on the floor of the patio and this old lady tripped. And I didn't see her fall, but I looked, turned around, and she was on the floor. And there were a bunch of people who were trying to help her. Now, Emily, at a younger age, would have leapt up right away to try to help. Emily, at the age that I am now, this was like 4 or 5 months ago, sat in my seat and watched what happened and watched to see if there was genuinely an opening for me to help, and trusted that she was going to be supported and be taken care of. I didn't rush to help because I saw that this woman was being cared for by other people. There was someone that she was with that helped her get up. There was the owners of the dog with the leash that she had tripped over that tried to help her. There was a server, a manager, there were multiple people. But what the state of extreme empathy would have led me to do would have been to get up anyways and to involve myself. Now, I don't know what that woman's backstory is. From the outside, she seemed like a sweet old lady. Who the hell knows? Maybe she was an evil person. Maybe she couldn't walk properly because she had some sort of, I don't know, some sort of backstory where that was deserved, where she was maybe abusive or she was whatever it would have been. We just don't know people's full backstory of why they have the luck that they do and why they have for unfortunate events happen to them. I'll give another example. I was a receptionist at a large company, and somebody came in from their lunch break and let me know that somebody's car outside had a flat tire. And he said, "Oh, do you know the owner of this model of the vehicle? And if we could let them know that their tire is flat." And I said, "No, I don't." And I can't even begin to figure out whose it is because we had hundreds of people parked in that parking lot. And then I kind of turned to this man that had brought it up and I said, good for you for thinking of them, but we also don't know if maybe that flat tire is preventing them from getting into an accident. Maybe it's preventing them from driving too fast somewhere where some unfortunate thing could happen. We never know. I kind of think about that in terms of like the people who miss the Titanic or missed 9/11 or missed whatever plane crash or whatever. We never know why God, the universe, the divine, sometimes puts challenges on our path. So trusting that everybody is on their own karmic path and own karmic journey, and really reeling in your energy with that discernment of it is not mine to interrupt, I can only help so much, is a really powerful way to be at peace with whatever may happen. I have one more thing to talk about before we end off here, which is empathy for people who don't take accountability and use a mental health diagnosis as an excuse. So I touched upon that a little bit earlier. Some mental health diagnoses can be weaponized. There are people who will weaponize their mental health diagnosis and try to make you feel sorry for them and try to take advantage of your empathetic nature. It is so important that if they are actively trying to make you feel bad for them, that you recognize where you're being manipulated and where you actually feel sorry for them naturally, where you actually feel empathetic, where you actually can imagine yourself in their shoes, in their feelings. That's what empathy is imagining yourself feeling those same feelings. Mental health diagnosis is an explanation. It is not an excuse. It is never an excuse to take advantage of people and ask for sympathy that isn't there. Everybody is responsible for their own emotional well-being. I have talked about this at length. I have so many resources on how to better your life, to take care of yourself, how to eat well, how to have a good relationship to food and to exercise, which are two of the most important things for making sure that you're healthy in your mind. I have meditations, I have affirmations, I have so many things out there to help people of every kind of background. I want you, as an empathetic person watching this, to remember that it is not your job to heal. You can share the resources that I have with these people. You can listen to a certain extent. You can feel some of the ways that they feel and validate that, like I had mentioned earlier. But weaponizing a mental illness is how a lot of empaths get abused emotionally and psychologically. Some of the things that you want to look out for is when people are resistant to resources, when they're resistant to help, when they're resistant to bettering themselves, when they have a huge lack of self-awareness. If you are speaking to someone who has a huge lack of self-awareness, it does not matter how much you feel for them, does not matter how much you try to help them, you will get nowhere. Self-awareness is the first step to becoming a more successful, mentally healthy person overall. It can be very easy to walk around with injustice trauma from your empathy being trampled on in some way, shape, or form and taken advantage of or abused. And what that does is it creates this victim hero mentality where if I'm not saving someone, then I'm the victim of the world, that the world doesn't see my heart and the world just wants to trample all over my heart. None of that is productive. If you hold back some of that excess energy, you will no longer be a victim and you will no longer feel the need to be everybody's hero because you know it's not your job. I have grown up being compared to Wonder Woman. I have so much Wonder Woman stuff and I love the character and I love what the character stands for. I am not Wonder Woman, and thank Goddess for that. I'm not Wonder Woman. You're not Superman. It's okay. We are who we are. We are people. We are real life people. And we don't have to take it on ourselves. We don't have to save everybody ourselves. You know, there's this horrible movie from the 80s, and I'm sorry if you love it, but I think it's horrible, called The Never-Ending Story. And it's about a small child who has to save this entire fantasy world from, I can't remember what it's called, from the doom or something. Basically, this land is overcome with depression, and the weight of saving the land from depression is put all on the shoulders of this small child. And this is a kid's movie. I don't know why. It's a kid's movie, super traumatizing. We're not going to get into the worst parts of the movie, but that's the premise of the movie. And empaths grow up watching things like this and relate to it and think that we're supposed to save the world. We watch the superhero movies and we think we're supposed to save the world, especially neurodivergent people, especially people on the spectrum. You relate so much to these films. Like, I gotta be liked, so how am I gonna be liked? Well, if I save everybody, then maybe they like me. And if I please everybody, then maybe they'll be pleased with me. You can't please everybody, and they're not all gonna like you, and it's okay not to be liked, and it's okay not to be the person who saves everybody, and it's okay to just help a little bit, to help just to the degree that is going to not put you out. You do not have to give everybody your all. So I hope this video, which was super niche, is helpful in some way, shape, or form. And if it's not that helpful for you, maybe it'll be helpful for someone else. So make sure to share it and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos all about self-development, beauty, style, fitness, all that fun stuff. And until next time, take really good care of yourself. Go do something nice for yourself and stay golden.